So, institutionalized lies. Quid est veritas? What is truth? Well, conventional truth is something that we agree upon. There is a forest nearby. Other people call it a forest. Level of abstraction reaches to the point that we agree that it is a forest. Now, this is conventional truth that is based on agreement, negotiations. There is the, let's say, mathematical truth that is objectively provable. And there is the objective truth, for example, metaphysical truth, that cannot be reached by humans otherwise than by proportion and interval, anthropocentrically introjected in a way that it may be rendered realized. As such, revelations, philosophies, theologies were all created by men, man-made. They were the approximations and codifications of certain metaphysical realizations, understandings of the world at large. By and large, projecting and introjecting the world in a fashion that tries to understand something divine, better perhaps. Now, being bullshit proof and disliking lies, even the white lies so-called, what are institutionalized lies? For example, something that contradicts certain metaphysical realizations to some may be lies. As one prince in Shobogenzo by Dogen was cited, what is true to one is a lie to another. What is a lie to one is a truth to another. And so on, so on. So does it give us some ultra-relativistic flow that truth, realization cannot be defined? Absolutely not. However, what is the main point here is that some lies that contradict greater, broader human experience may be institutionalized. You may create whole theologies justifying its bullshit, whole sacred art, churches, cathedrals. You can attach stories unimaginable to some mortal Galilean that was a zero and justify it as the new normal. The new normal, every decade, is the truth of the episode, right? So imagine that Christianity created by Constantine at the Council of Nicaea, assigning some significance and meaning to that worthless Galilean Crux and his raped mother by a Roman archer, Panthera, created a whole establishment, an institutionalized, greatest swindle, institutionalized lie in the world that you dare not contradict nowadays, nor revert it. Oh, you know those cherry-picking Christians, right? However, such an institutional lie, although it gives hope, it gives faith, it gives consolation and meaning to life, from the perspective of realized metaphysical individuals that know about the cemeteries of the dead, the shadows inhabiting this world, what happens to the souls, minds, and the hearts that are not reasoned, educated, initiated into mysteries of the ancients, for example, it is a tremendous catastrophe. And by such institutionalized lie, that is Christian religion, versus metaphysical realization, not truth, gives you an output in which Christianity not only is the greatest swindle and institutionalized lie, but the greatest mishap that happened to humanity. Abrahamic religions, wholesale, Judeo-Christianity, Islam, doesn't matter. It's a metaphysical slavehood, complete catastrophe for the souls, for the diamonds, for the hearts and minds. So you can say that, but there are good people in this religion, right? There are good and evil people. You can turn any philosophy into a kind of an extreme swindle and murder in the name of it, right? Right. So humaneness, something that connects certain tribes, ethnicities, and groups of people, is diverse, individuated by every group a bit differently. However, what I posit is that, hello, heathens were noble, great people too. Ancient Hindus, Buddhists, great people too. So religion doesn't define your standing as a good or evil person. Citing Plato, you are born neither good or evil. You may have an inborn nature that has an inclination towards this, a potential that becomes an actuality under training, mentorship, learning, educating, and reason, even trafficking and connecting with the divinities, with the metaphysics, with the other side, with the other world. But when this component of realization and reason lacks, and Christianity was known for destroying its mystics, magicians, and burning holy matrilineal priestly witch lineages at the stakes. So by eliminating this component, they became inept, and their illogical, irrational started consuming itself like dead zone artificial intelligence, local instances that kind of interact with each other. So that is the so-called Christianity of the nowadays. It lost all its, let's say, ethical and moral standing by bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Hey, apex of the Christian ideas, the Nazi camps. Now, I may be largely anti-Judeo-Christian as a heathen in connection with the divine. I do not invent my gods. I interact with them. They are revealed in autophaneia, therefore I interact and act upon this knowledge. Do they inform me? No. I have only this much. If my intelligence reached a certain threshold of understanding, the component of Plutarchian, Delian, Isfanian interpretation, knowing, philosophizing, exchanging, then it means that perhaps I was endowed with a certain amount of intelligibility. I am intelligible as a little mortal in between myself and the divine powers, forces, gods, deified qualities, and so on and so on. The muses, the cohorts of intelligences of planetary spheres. So I treat it as a form of a trust. Trust between me and the gods, between me and the spirits, between me and the dead, between me and the demons. And if I have enough intelligence and intellect to understand it, perhaps that is the point. That your critical thinking skills, your intelligence, your inborn genia, Juno, or the daimonic component is enough to participate in this and understand it. And if you understand it from this perspective, you know that Judeo-Christianity is one large swindle and a lie. By and large. Maybe it's esoteric offshoots, but esoteric offshoots were almost always destroyed in these religions as something heretical, as something not according to doctrine paradigm of those fools, clerical fools, bishop fools, pope fools, and so on and so on. So this was a short story or a manifesto why it is good to recognize conventional truths, why objective truth is unattainable, and why realization alone, realizations multiplied by realizations, intelligence, knowledge multiplied by all of it, may point to the fact that Judeo-Christianity is an institutional lie, a swindle, destroying souls, minds, and hearts, and turning people on the other side into some twisted forms of shadow beings that are completely destroyed. Now, not all, because it's like a gamble. I say that a magician is someone who knows where he's going and he shapes his fate and his experiment and art and ceremonies and rites with the gods in order to arrive posthumously at the place he wants to be. Personally, I'm designated to the sphere of Saturn, Aditon Cronion. That's the place I want to be. I worked for that for 18 years. Now, a regular mortal human being that doesn't know where he's going, he just believes in some freak on the cross, that he'll take him to heaven, and he's doing absolutely nothing apart from praying and believing and living like a dead man living, like this corpse on the cross. He may end up well, he may end up badly, he may be reborn. It's a gamble. It's like a Russian roulette. You die and it's like, poof, maybe you'll go to hell. Maybe you'll go someplace else. Nobody knows, right? It's not a definite. However, most of those people that cannot take responsibility for the mysteriosophy, for the occult training, for the magical training, for the rite, for the homosisteo, theon ergon, with the gods walking upon us and us walking with them, don't count on any better effects. Don't think that you're going where you want to be, because you didn't take command and responsibility over your life, over your sculpting. So, this much said, I wouldn't address this lecture to older people, because you need to begin young in order to train yourself in the finest of qualities, finest of attributes, in the occult arts, business, and there's of course life, family, foundation, work, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, and so on, your wives. And on top of that, that's the basic human existence level, right? Walk, live, play, have a roof above your head, have something to eat. But is that everything? No. There's a mountain to conquer. There's a mountain to climb up on that mountain. The steps of the ziggurat. And if you're ready to commit to it, be sure that the other side will reply. You'll have plenty of enemies that will try to trash and try to stop you from attaining this via regia, this alchemical gold, aurum. But it's worth the try. So the sooner you start, the better are the effects, because then you are experienced, you know all the tools of the trade, the tricks of the other side, the deceptions, the delusions, the ignorance. And then you know how to move through it swiftly, like an artisan. At first, you make some small steps, right? You trip over, it's a minefield, everything, depression, possession, despair. And then you start to affirm it, you bite through the rotten meat. You become stronger and stronger and more astute, and you walk forward towards those stars, towards those heavens, towards your gods. And citing Ralph Waldo Emerson, it's like you're born into the world and the gods and goddesses shower gifts and blessings upon you. But the mass of earth, the swamp of earth, the mass tells you to go this, hider, tider, to do this, that, and to forget about it all. And you forget as a little child of the gods and goddesses what it is like to be one of them, a hero, a Agathos Daimon, a great spirit. But then again, when that fog of war, this swamp, this swinery of humanity nowadays clears a bit, you stand in front of the stars alone at night, and then everything lifts up, the veils disappear, and then you stand alone with the gods and goddesses alone. And once again, they shower blessings and gifts upon you. And when you pass away, they lift you up back to the procession of gods.